I've never said that these files will implicate Donald Trump, and I really don't think that they will. I think he's trying to protect a bunch of rich and powerful friends, billionaires, donors to his campaign, friends in his social circles. And that's my operating theory on why he's trying so hard to keep these files closed. There are at least 20 people in those files. There are politicians, billionaires, movie producers who are implicated criminally, who haven't been investigated. And it's up to the FBI, not the survivors, and the DOJ to release those names, or at least to investigate them. And when I see Donald Trump announce a bunch of investigations, I don't see him going after these rich elites that are implicated in these files, according to the survivors. It's a small world. Dogs don't bark at parked cars, and we are winning. I'm not tired of winning yet, but we are winning. And not only the speaker, but the attorney general, the FBI director, and the president himself and the vice president, they're taking a big loss this week, because after months of fighting, I am winning this week with Ro Khanna. We're forcing this vote, and it's going to happen.
Republican Congressman Thomas Massie has once again publicly broken ranks with Donald Trump over the increasingly attention-grabbing Epstein files fiasco.
I would remind my Republican colleagues who are deciding how to vote, Donald Trump can protect you in red districts right now by giving you an endorsement, but in 2030, he's not going to be the president, and you will have voted to protect pedophiles if you don't vote to release these files, and the president can't protect you then. This vote, the record of this vote, will last longer than Donald Trump's presidency.
But what's even more noteworthy, besides the fact that the cracks in the pro-Trump MAGA movement are, well, they're getting much deeper and more apparent day by day, is how Trump himself tried to paint this congressional bill into something it wasn't.
To that stunning about-face from President Trump, who now says he's urging House Republicans to vote to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. The president adamant about the vote on Truth Social, saying in part, we have nothing to hide and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax.
Just last week, the White House tried to talk Republicans out of supporting a measure that would force the vote that is coming tomorrow. And in the end, it did not work. He's simply over it. He doesn't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein anymore, and he is frustrated that it is getting in the way of all the issues he does want to talk about, including affordability, immigration, things that are on his agenda. And so that is one reason why he is urging Republicans to support the measure to force the DOJ to release more files. And his hope is that that will free up more space to focus on what matters to him.
What we're watching here is a political dance with very real implications. Trump made it sound as if his hands were tied, as if only Congress had the power to pry open the Epstein files, when in reality, those files sit under the control of the executive branch that he currently leads. This isn't a small misunderstanding. It's part of a familiar pattern where Trump frames transparency as something just out of reach, or something he would absolutely support as long as someone else takes the first step. But now that the bill has momentum, and now that Republicans in Congress are the ones hesitating, the gap between what Trump says publicly and what he's willing to do privately is becoming harder to ignore. For people following this story, the question is not just whether Trump will allow these files to be released, it's whether he actually wants them released at all. And when someone like Thomas Massie, who normally sits comfortably inside the MAGA wing, starts calling out those contradictions, signals pressure inside the Republican Party that Trump cannot simply swat away. Even among his own supporters, the demand for real answers is growing. So is the suspicion about why those answers haven't surfaced.
When it came to the Epstein files, look at this, just 44%, south of 50% of Republicans actually approved on Donald Trump when it came to the Epstein files. Compare that to this. What was the percentage of Republicans that wanted all of the Epstein files released? 67%. So what we were dealing with is simple mathematics. The Republican base was against Donald Trump on the Epstein files. They were with the idea of releasing them. The Republican representatives saw that and therefore were not afraid to go against Donald Trump, because this was the rare instance in which the Republican base was not with Donald Trump. They were actually with the idea of being against Donald Trump and releasing the Epstein files.
The reporting makes one thing clear. This isn't a left versus right fight. It's a power fight. Epstein's network was built around wealth, Proximity, influence, institutions that have a long history of protecting the well-connected. Americans across parties understand that. What complicates the moment now is how Trump is positioning himself. Instead of taking ownership, which he has the authority to do, he's juggling mixed signals, praising transparency while claiming he needs someone else to pull the trigger. Meanwhile, his allies in Congress are leaning into delay. Some are quietly stepping away from the bill. Others are, throwing up procedural objections. The result is a topic with massive public interest and bipartisan urgency being shoved back into a familiar cycle. Promises of truth without a commitment to release it. That's why Massie's break from Trump matters. It's not rebellion, it's acknowledgement that people are tired of the evasiveness.
You urged House Republicans to vote in favor of this Epstein release bill they're going to vote on tomorrow. I just want to be super clear on your position. Do you want to see that pass the Senate? Would you sign that bill if it gets to your desk?
I do want to. Here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others. They're all Democrats. All I want for people to recognize the great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability, because we brought prices way down, but they're going way lower, on energy, on ending 8 wars and another one coming pretty soon, I believe. We've done a great job. And I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. You know, we've already given 50,000 pages. You do know that. Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's never enough. You know, with Kennedy, we gave everything and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, we gave everything and it's never enough. We've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages. 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, but they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party. So I'm for any. I don't. They can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure, I would. Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much, because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them, and it's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax. And I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished over the last period of time.
If they have ongoing investigations in certain areas, those documents can't be released. So this might be a big smokescreen, these investigations, to open a bunch of them as a last-ditch effort to prevent the release of the Epstein files.
You know, when you zoom out and push past the personalities, the through line becomes impossible to miss. The American public wants transparency without condition. They want to understand how a man who operated inside elite circles for decades, surrounded by billionaires, politicians, CEOs, media figures, and world leaders, managed to avoid accountability again and again. And they want to know who enabled that system, not just socially, but structurally. So when Donald Trump insists he's open to releasing the files, but his party drags its feet, people notice. When he claims his approval depends on congressional action he doesn't actually need, well, more questions follow. And when Republicans begin splintering, Massie breaking ranks, others dodging questions entirely, it reveals a deeper fear inside the party that opening the door on Epstein means opening the door on something far bigger. This story isn't about scoring political points. It's about whether the most powerful people in this country are held to the same standards as everyone else, whether justice applies evenly or selectively, whether truth still matters in a system that often relies on secrecy to protect the privileged. As this unfolds, public pressure is not fading. People want answers. They deserve answers. And no bill, no delay tactic, no shifting explanation is going to make that demand disappear.